Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video, doing the July month ahead forecast today. Going to have a look at the CFS model and the Beijing Climate Centre model, see if we can determine what may be happening for the coming month. Before I get on with the July month ahead forecast, so just make sure you advertise in the video ads on my page, at GatsbyOffice.com. If you press play on the video ad, you'll be supporting GatsbyOffice.com. Thanks very much for doing that. So just quickly to talk about June. The June forecast suggested a warmer than average month. Also suggested perhaps drier than average in the north, but wetter than average perhaps down in the south, with an increased risk of thunderstorms. Well, the temperature prediction came out quite good actually. We did come out above average for June with a central England temperature of 15.1 degrees, which is an anomaly of 1 degree above average. The precipitation forecast wasn't as good though, because it was actually drier than average month pretty much universally across the country. We didn't see that increased risk of thunderstorms that I suspected could happen down across the south. The storms generally stayed over on the continent. So okay for temperatures, not so good for the precipitation forecast for June. Now, quite interestingly, what seems to have happened as we've gone through into the summer is that we've lost about a degree off the average temperature. From January to April, we was running around 2 degrees above average. January 1.9 anomaly, February anomaly of 2.4, March 2.0, April 2.3. So generally running around 2 degrees, somewhere around 2 degrees above average as an anomaly for the first 4 months of the year. Now, as we go into May, we see we lose about a degree. We have an anomaly there of 1.1 degree above average, and that's continued into June, again a degree above average. So we've gone from an anomaly of around 2 degrees above average from January to April to around 1 degree above average from May and into June. And July, although they only got to 1 day for July, again the anomaly is around 1 degree above average. So it appears we've lost around a degree off the anomaly that we've been running, but even so we're still running above average. It'll be interesting to see whether that above average trend continues for July. This is the 700 millibar height anomaly prediction from the CFS model for July. What it's seeing is an area of above average heights, that's high pressure, sitting to the west of the country, out in the Atlantic, sitting more or less to the west of Ireland. The jet stream with that is running around the top and then coming down into the continent, something like that. So the jet stream is more or less running through the country. It'll be niggling away at us if that's right. It's generally quite a settled-ish signal, but we'll always be at risk of the jet stream sort of niggling in, bringing in some unsettled conditions at times, and probably more unsettled over the continent actually, with the jet stream tending to dive down through central and eastern parts of Europe. But coming back to us, that's a difficult situation because we're very close to having a warm, dry month with that high pressure ridging in, but we're also quite close to having a coolish and unsettled-ish sort of month, and we're probably going to see alternating situations like that through the coming month actually. Basically a continuation of what we've had through June, and June's been a very tricky month really to pin down. It's been difficult for me to forecast. Model and reliability have been very poor, and that often happens when you've got high pressure sitting just to the west in that sort of position, because the models want to bring that high pressure in and produce a prolonged spell of dry weather, but the jet stream is always sort of niggling away, bringing little areas of low pressure down from the northwest, and the models don't always see that until quite late on when those low pressures come through. So that's, I think, is the main reason why the models have been so difficult to interpret over the past month, and we're probably going to see that continuing actually through July. Now here's the temperature prediction for July as an anomaly. Notice that most of Europe is actually very cool, or perhaps not very cool, but certainly on the cooler side of average. For the British Isles, we are in sort of average type temperatures there. A little bit of orange for Ireland, makes us a high pressure is very close, so it could be a little bit above average in the west. But again, most of Europe is on the cool side, and again, the reason that's happening is that the jet stream is running around the top of the high pressure, sitting out to the west of the country, and then coming down through Europe, something like that. So it's taking the cooler, unsettled conditions out into central and eastern parts of Europe. But for us, the temperature anomaly is average. Now, with high pressure sitting just to the west, not surprisingly, we're coming out drier than average. But that doesn't preclude the situation that we could get some weather system, some areas of low pressure niggling away with the jet stream coming down through the country at times. So there will be some precipitation, but probably coming out drier than average. For temperatures, really, that's difficult to pin down because we're very close to having a warmer than average month. We're also very close to having not particularly exciting temperatures, to be honest. Now, having a look at the Beijing Climate Centre, this is the 500 millibar height anomaly for July, broken down into 10-day periods. So this first 10-day period takes us from the 1st to 10th of July. There's the above average height sitting in the Atlantic, so it's definitely seeing that. We've got the low pressure up to the northwest as well with the jet stream. Again, the jet stream is coming through, something like that, and then coming down, something like that. So we are probably looking at, again, a similar situation with the high pressure bridging in off the Atlantic, but the low pressure always sort of niggling away to the northwest, at times producing more unsettled conditions. That's certainly for the first 10 days of the month. As we go through to the middle of the month, the 11th to the 20th, interestingly, the anomaly is changing then, and we've got an area of above average heights ridging in across the country quite nicely, actually. So that does suggest it's going to be drier and warmer as we're going through the middle 10 days of July. It does suggest a drier, warmer, perhaps even quite hot spell of weather coming up from the 11th to the 20th. It'll be interesting whether that comes off. As we go through to the final 10 days, which is 21st to the 30th, we lose that area of above average heights and we replace it with an area of below average heights, so low pressure then starts to come back. Not as a deep trough of low pressure, but certainly more unsettled, probably thundery, actually. That's probably sort of the high pressure producing some sort of a heat wave through the middle of the month, and then easing off towards low pressure in the second half of the month, through the following 10 days of the month, turning it thundery perhaps over the country. But it's an interesting month, actually. It's quite a changeable, with each 10-day segment showing quite a different sort of scenario. So as we go through the month, we're not seeing any particular pattern driving the month. Quite a changeable month coming up in terms of the synoptic pressure pattern. The overall temperature anomaly that the Beijing Climate Centre is seeing is coming out average to a little bit above average there. We're just over here on the chart. So yeah, we're in those cream colours. Not really hot month, but certainly a little bit warmer than the average, although the cooler than average conditions are not far away in the Atlantic. In terms of the precipitation anomaly, it's a little bit drier than average. It's average to drier than average that the model is seeing just there. So it's a tricky old month to pin down again, this July. It's going to be very similar to June, I think, in that the patterns are not going to be uniform. We're going to be seeing quite a lot of changes, quite a lot of variability, and the model reliability is probably not going to be that great, to be honest. But overall, I'm going to come out on the side that we're going to be a little bit above average again. I think maybe not a degree above average, maybe coming down a little bit more with the anomaly, say half a degree above average. So I don't think it's going to be a desperately hot month. Certainly no sign of a repeat of what happened last July. Famous last words, but there's no evidence on these charts that we're going to see a repeat of the heat wave that we had through most of July 2013. But nevertheless, still coming out above average, so quite a warm July. And I think the precipitation is easier to pin down. I think it is going to be probably another drier than average month. So a little bit warmer than average, drier than average. That's a prediction for July from GASWeather. It's finally having a very quick sneak peek at August. This is the 700 millibar height anomaly chart from the CFS model for August. And, well, it's hard to pin down what's going on there, really. We've got vast areas of white, which is sort of average type conditions. I don't think the model's really got a signal for August yet, but my suspicion is that with that sort of anomaly, we're losing the above average heights in the Atlantic, so we're probably seeing an increase in the jet stream. It could be turning a little bit more unsettled through the course of August, but there's nothing really to go on there in terms of that anomaly for August. So, well, I hope the prediction does get a little bit clearer, or the idea from the model gets a little bit clearer as we go through the next few weeks, or else I'm going to be really struggling when we get to August to pin down what's going on there. But coming back to July, the prediction, the forecast from GASWeather.com is for another warmer than average month, with an anomaly of perhaps half a degree, something like that, above average, and precipitation coming out drier than the average. We'll see how it goes. As ever, we'll evaluate next month. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.